because this is Industry 4.0 and how Michigan wins. So the people I'm about to introduce you to are a big part of how Michigan wins. Manufacturers across the globe, as we all know, are understanding the fundamental changes to how things are made. And as they look at that, they know that they have to embrace the Industry 4.0 technologies that help them to do things differently. However, what they all have in common, no matter where they are in their journey, is trying to find a path to a return on investment for their Industry 4.0 time. Michigan manufacturers, as most people in this room know, and many of you were part of, totally dominated the second and third industrial revolution. We ran those shows. So now, we're in a situation where we need to look at the best way for us to stay ahead of the rest of the world and continue leadership using new technologies to become manufacturing global leaders. So with that, you will learn that one of the things we'll do is some public-private partnerships, and I have the honor of introducing 3 phenomenal public leaders today. So I'm pleased to be joined by public sector leader Sean Carlson. Sean is the Executive County Deputy at Oakland County. Natalie Chimico. Natalie's Vice President of Pure Michigan Business Connect and International Trade for Michigan Economic Development Corporation. She has the honor of the longest job title and company. And last but certainly not least, my boss and our CEO of Automation Alley, Tom Kelly. So the first question I ask is going to be a very basic one. I was going to skip this, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it. And I'm going to start with Sean, and then we'll let people weigh in on this. Where do you think Michigan is today in Industry 4.0, and where do you see us in 5 years?
I'll take that mic from you first. So we're a lot farther along than what we were 5 years ago. We're making strides, and big believer in Industry 4.0. I had an opportunity to hear from Automation Alley in my former role as the Executive Director of Michigan Defense Center, and really embraced Industry 4.0. We really need to press hard on this with electric vehicles coming online. There's going to be a lot less parts. That's going to put a lot of pressure on our Tier 1 and Tier 2 and 3 manufacturers. So we need to take the time now to really embrace this digitization. And that's why Oakland County reached out to Automation Alley with COVID, used our CARES dollars from the federal government, and instead of sending it to manufacturers, developed a program where we put 3D printers in the hands of our manufacturers in Oakland County. So from that perspective, Oakland County, I can only speak for the county, is a lot farther along than where we were 36 months ago. So.
Thank you. And Natalie, do you want to respond a little bit at the state level?
Yeah, so obviously we've been hearing today, Industry 4.0 is really the convergence of the digital and the physical technologies. And, you know, Michigan, in its strong manufacturing base, has won the second and the third industrial revolution, and we are poised to win the fourth. We've got the workforce, we've got the highly skilled workforce, we have the manufacturing base, the know-how, and the experience to win the fourth industrial revolution. And I believe that the companies in Michigan are poised to win as well. And at the state level, we have launched an Industry 4.0 signature initiative to support 50% of all Michigan manufacturers to be prepared to adopt new Industry 4.0 technologies by 2025. So it's about 6,200 businesses. It's a really ambitious goal, but I know that with these resources, it can help you navigate what your business needs to do next in terms of technology adoption.
And Tom, I'm going to pivot a little bit to you and ask you, as a state with such high manufacturing standards and expectations, where do you think Michigan has been successful, and where have we failed, or do we need more work?
Well, that's actually a great question, because success is in the eye of the beholder, right? So if you think about what our auto industry is doing at the OE level, they are in an existential fight for their lives. And so they are spending $50, $60 billion as a collective in all kinds of fronts. One, to navigate the product life cycle because they have to make products, EV products that consumers want, something they have not done in the last 100 years. We did that when we first started down the second industrial revolution. So we have to learn how to do EV at the same time that we have competitors from all over the world wanting to get into EVs because EVs are so much less complex than internal combustion engines. It was called Ford Motor and General Motors for a reason. The IP was in the motor, always. Now the motor is just a throwaway standard commodity. And what does that mean to be in the business of top hats? It's going to be about the features that an end customer wants. So what we're doing well is we're understanding we are in an existential fight for our lives. But where we have room for improvement and where we'll be in 5 years is I don't know where we'll be because it's unpredictable, but what I hope is that the entire ecosystem has the same fear but hope for where we're going, that we understand we have to change rapidly.
Thank you. Tom always manages to couple fear and hope together, and I think that is what we need to do. We can't do one without the other. Does anybody else want to weigh in on that at all and where you think we're going? Okay.
Yeah, just to add on, one of the there was a national study that was done a couple years ago that showed that only 12% of the manufacturing base, especially the small manufacturing base, was prepared to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies. So the remaining are either somewhat prepared or not prepared at all. And so really, we see this as a huge actual risk. Like Tom said, there's a risk of us not keeping up with that innovation and those technologies on our manufacturing floors. And so it's extremely critical. In the state of Michigan, over 42% of our workforce could be impacted if we do not make these changes. So it is mission critical, and the fact that you're all here today shows me that you're interested in learning more, and that's absolutely the best first step.
Yeah, I was going to just comment too in regards to predicting where we're going to be at. I mean, we're making an investment at Oakland County. As I mentioned previously with Project Diamond, we made a $10 million investment for 250 companies, small manufacturing enterprises in Oakland County, to get a 3D printer. We are going to phase 2 on Project Diamond and making an additional $15 million investment to create a tipping point in Oakland County. So that's where we believe that it's very important. Thank you. We believe it's very important to create a tipping point on Industry 4.0, and with the additive manufacturing is how we intend to do it in Oakland County.
That's a great response. I was going to ask what is our superpower as a state, and what is our kryptonite? And I have a feeling that I just heard some of the superpower from Sean. But Tom, I'm going to throw that to you first. What is it that really sets us apart? We're better than everybody. And what is the danger that Michigan has that might be unique to our state?
So I have to edit your questions next time. So you always ask me the hard ones. So our superpower is we invented the second industrial revolution, for Christ's sake. We were the richest city, Detroit metro area, in the world because of the wealth we created from the second industrial revolution. The third revolution was computers and robotics, and it was applied over the second industrial revolution. So the wealth continued. We're now that's our strength, is that we really know how to innovate when we want to, right? When we put our mind to it. We created all of this change globally because of our ability to innovate. Our kryptonite is the exact opposite side of that coin, which is because we created such wealth and systems tied to the second industrial revolution, we are forever chained to them. And it makes it hard for us to look and say, I need to abandon what I have, and I need to invest in where the world is going. The world, like we said this morning, Microsoft had a great presentation where they said, as Microsoft, we don't respect tradition, we only respect innovation. And I think our kryptonite is sometimes we respect tradition too much, and when I talk to people about 3D printing, they say, yeah, but Tom, how does it help my line today? I said, it doesn't. But you need to be experimenting because this is where the world is going. So that's what we need to focus on.
Yeah, and what Tom is saying, too, is a fancy way to say culture. We have such a rich culture of success here, but changing culture is very difficult. In the Detroit News just the other day, they were talking about these EV sites all over the place. We have to be prepared, and we have to be agile enough here in Michigan, Oakland County, Wayne County, Southeast Michigan, all of Michigan, to be able to compete for these electric vehicles. Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, they're gunning for us, and we can't rest on our laurels, and we need to make sure that we're agile enough and that we're aggressive enough and that we work together. There's too much division in Lansing. We need to come together as a group and understand to have a laser focus that this is important to Michigan. And it's not a fait accompli that we're always going to be putting the world on wheels. And we have to fight for that right now.
Thank you. Natalie, the easy questions go to Natalie and Sean because, I know Tom too well. So there are so many technologies out there between AI and robotics and 3D printing. There's just a myriad of technologies. What is the barrier to adoption? What do you see as the limiting factor? And is there a role that government can or should play to mitigate that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned the Industry 4.0 Signature Initiative that we launched back in 2020. And one of the things that we learned kind of in the education and awareness of going out and talking to manufacturers was that cost was still a big barrier to getting new technologies into their facilities. And so at the state level, actually, as of yesterday, we have launched a new grant program to support small manufacturers with getting the technology that they need. It is a 50% reimbursement up to $25,000. Again, to support your business with these I4O technologies, like getting a 3D printer or a cobot, or implementing new systems that are going to make your business more efficient, more innovative for the future of manufacturing.
Thank you. And Sean, because you're also government, I'm going to ask you, you've already enacted some of that with Project Diamond. Where do you see the role of government in helping move this forward?
I think the government plays a big role. We saw just last Friday President Biden visit Cincinnati and talk about an AM Forward initiative. AM, additive manufacturing. Oakland County, later that afternoon, sent an invitation to the White House and said, hey, we're not just talking about it up here in Michigan. We're doing it. It's called Project Diamond. We've distributed 3D printers. So Siemens, Raytheon, I think it was Lockheed Martin and GE Aviation have all committed for their defense contracts 30 to 50% sourcing with 3D printers. So we also sent an invitation to those executives at those departments, inviting them up to Oakland County to introduce them to folks like Metalmite, Unified Business Technologies, all of our 250 vendors that have a 3D printer right now, to get them involved in part of their network. So I think government plays a huge role, and it was quite a validation for Automation Alley and Oakland County's initiative with Project Diamond. And so we just wanted the White House to know we're already doing it, and come and see the success up here in Oakland County.
He said, where you been? We've been waiting for you to get religion around this.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a pretty exciting, well-timed event, too. So we're talking a lot about technology and advanced technologies, how that changes businesses. But we really know that before you can change a business, you have to change the business culture. So what are the barriers there, and how do we go about getting past that cultural transformation so that we can get companies ready to look at the businesses? We've talked internally about the fact that it's really culture, finance, and then technology. So how do we get people to lead with culture?
Well, I'll give a plug to one of the programs that Automation Alley has actually, is a leadership evaluation to support top leaders in the organization to take an assessment to figure out kind of where do they stand today in terms of culture and innovation within their business, and then make some recommendations as to how you can improve and kind of benchmark yourself against other businesses similar to yours. So that's something that's free to manufacturers and leaders in manufacturing to take advantage of. I'm going to always say, take advantage of the resources that are out there. The fact that you're here, like I said, learning about this, participating in Integr8, participating with the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center, I mean, really, that's going to help you get in the right frame of mind. And then from there, it's disseminating that information and that vision to your teams. And I think that's really key to shifting a culture that, like you said, has really been focused on kind of this historical success, but how do we look at, the future and the innovation that's necessary to keep our companies competitive?
Yeah, and I want to say something on that too. So what we need to, I'm going to be critical of our industry here and our culture in Michigan, only to say we need to change how we think about problems. So today, every CFO that exists in every manufacturer, whether the CFO is the owner or it's the CFO of a big, huge corporation, they all evaluate projects based on return on investment. And return on investment, almost by definition, is incrementalism. Unless you can prove to me I can make money back right this second, I'm not going to fund your project. Silicon Valley works just the opposite. They say, give me your idea, tell me how it'll change the world and how we'll make a boatload of money, and I'll take an option-like bet on you. I'll give you a little bit of money, and we'll see where it goes. Do you see how those cultures are completely at odds with each other? We need to become Silicon Valley faster than Silicon Valley figures out how to become us. I said that this morning in my remarks. That's the culture risk we have, is that we tend to view everything as a math problem. And if you're a great hitter, you get up and you say, you know what, I'm going to hit a bunch of home runs. I just can't tell you when or where, but I'm going to hit a bunch of home runs. And we sit back and go, give me the ROI on hitting home runs, and then I'll see if I'm going to fund you or not. And if this one is only 20% chance of you hitting it, I'm not going to fund it. It's crazy thinking, right? But it's not irrational, because that's how you protect wealth you've created. You invest in systems that keep that wealth train going. And we're not recognizing that the world has changed, and we need to take more option-like bets. Don't bet the farm. Keep the cash flow coming from the business you got, but take option-like bets, because you have to do that if you want to win going forward.
Thank you. Really, really inspiring. So when it comes to economic development, how can we ensure we're all working towards a common goal? And actually, you each represent different parts of the public sector. Sean's the county, Natalie's the state, Tom is an agency of both. So how do we work together in terms of, the perspective on advanced manufacturing and what needs to happen at the industry level versus the policy level? I think that's something in Michigan we don't always do, is look at the industry level plus the policy level.
Yeah, from the state perspective, I mean, obviously our team of economic development professionals are out meeting with businesses every day and getting those insights to help kind of guide where our programming goes, where the support is needed, and how we can effectively, make recommendations to shift policy to help support those businesses. With the Industry 4.0 initiative that we launched, one of the things that we started almost immediately when we launched the program was we need to make sure that all of this knowledge, Automation Alley, MMTC, our regional partners, all of the economic development professionals, we need them all in the same room talking about Industry 4.0 and what it means for the businesses in their communities. And so convening those groups, having those conversations has really been vital for us to, continue to shape programming and be nimble, just like we're asking you to be nimble and innovative, we have to be as well in order to best support you.
Yeah, and I would say from a policy and an operational perspective, we have to be aligned, right? So we need to make sure that Oakland County is working with MEDC, that we're working with Automation Alley, that we agree on the goals that we're working on, and then how can we convene and how can we get people at the table. When we're not aligned, then people are running down different paths. And it's important that alignment is key from a policy perspective and also from an operational perspective. As a county, we try to be a convener and work with MEDC as they come into the county, but also work with our local economic development organizations who are boots on the ground, that might have those interfaces with those manufacturers. So alignment is key for success.
Did you want me to make a comment on that?
Because we have that, Automation Alley has that policy and business together. I think we're probably the one that bridges the two the best.
Yeah, well, the answers that Sean and Natalie gave are exactly what we need to be doing. I would add that we need to pay attention to what's happening around the world at the same time. So that's where Automation Alley and our World Economic Forum Advanced Manufacturing Hub involvement comes in, because as I said this morning, Germany, South Korea, Japan, Mexico, who am I leaving out? China, they all have Industry 4.0 national policies. They see Industry 4.0 as a way to lead, especially places like Mexico or India, who also has a policy. They see Industry 4.0 as a way to leapfrog over all manufacturers, right? They think we're the BlackBerry to their iPhone, right? And so we need to be very careful that just because we have the coolest, sexiest product on the market today, that there isn't somebody, which the rest of the world is 100% trying to eat our lunch, that the rest of the world, we understand what competitive risks we're taking. And so I think we push from the inside out, and we learn from the outside in. And together, that's how we make sure that we win on the global stage.
Thank you. Lastly, I want to ask each one of you, what one piece of advice would you give to a company that's about to embark on a digital transformation journey? If they haven't yet, what would you recommend?
I would say you need to be bold. You can't sit back. It's going to pass you by. You need to move. You need to get on that ramp and get on the highway because this thing is moving like a freight train, and you need to get involved. And in Oakland County, there's no excuses. No excuses for any manufacturers that are in Oakland County. We had Project Diamond Phase 1, 250 companies that we leaned in and we said, we're going to give you a fishing pole. We want you to get involved. We want you to get part of this Industry 4.0 revolution that's going on. And we're about to give out another 1,000 3D printers. We have 2,200 manufacturers in Oakland County. No excuses. We want you around. There's a lot of work for you in the future. There's a lot of people that are counting on you for jobs. Be bold.
I completely agree with that, Sean. And one of the things I would add is just take advantage of the resources that are available to you as a Michigan company. We are one of the first states to launch an initiative like this to support manufacturers, and there's free resources available to take advantage of. If you haven't checked out the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center booth, please do. They offer They offer free assessments. They'll actually come into your business and take a look at your manufacturing operations and make recommendations of the technology that is custom to your needs as a business. And so take advantage of that. Take advantage of events like these, as well as our new grant program that I mentioned before, because they're only going to help your success in getting to the next level.
Join Automation Alley. If you're a small manufacturer, it's free. It costs nothing. The reason why we went from a paid membership organization for smalls to free is because the knowledge, it's so critical that we have no barriers to you guys getting the knowledge you need to figure out what does my personal path look like to success, because every one of you has a unique story and a unique way that you're going to get to this Industry 4.0 new world, this new business model on how you're going to make money. But we recognize that, and so we have assets and places where, working with the MEDC or Oakland County, we'll get you to the right, and Macomb County and all the other counties, we'll get you to the right place that you need to be. But you have to take the first step. You have to do something. And the easiest thing to do is just make sure you're part of the community, and then I'll ask you to really do something, because you can't sit on your hands.